Watch the parental narcissist in action. Lieutenant. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. It's often very helpful for you to understand about narcissism by having real-life examples provided to you. Sometimes this is done through the analysis of celebrities and famous people, and on other occasions it's utilizing footage that exists on the internet that people have quite readily put up there for public scrutiny, so that I can then analyze this and show you aspects of the dynamic between a narcissist and victim and the various facets of narcissism. In this instance, we have some footage which has been captured by a young adult, the son, who is aware of what his father is. It's not clear if he knows this at the time that he's filming or whether he had this awareness thereafter, but like many individuals, he's engaged in filming the interaction as he wants to create a record of the interaction for the purposes of catering to his truth-seeking, so that he is in a position to present it to the narcissist and other parties to show what has gone on. It may be the case that he does so in order to try and convince the narcissist of their poor behaviours, of course failing to recognize that that is doomed to failure, that the narcissist may not first of all acknowledge the behaviours, or even if they do, they certainly won't take responsibility for them in a genuine and meaningful fashion. In this footage, there is Matthew. He is the teenage, non-intimate secondary source victim of his narcissist father, who's called Greg. Matthew's grandmother is called Rose. She is parent to Greg, and she owns the family home that they all live in together with Matthew's mother, who's called Eileen. Eileen and Greg are married. Eileen is Greg's intimate partner, primary source. So with Greg, the father, as narcissist, we have Matthew, the son, non-intimate secondary source, Rose, the grandmother and mother, non-intimate secondary source, and Eileen, intimate partner, primary source. Prior to the footage that you're about to see, Matthew, in text, I've not included it, it's not necessary, states that what prompted the argument between him and his father. He wrote, "My dad interrupted me," which of course is a sense of entitlement and haughtiness and a lack of boundary recognition, for the purposes of getting me to show him how to rotate an image on PowerPoint. I've never used PowerPoint, but I came down to help him. I looked through the app, figured out how to rotate an image and showed him how. As I left the room, my dad yells at me, "Oh, you're obnoxious." He then wrote, "This makes no sense, unless you have a narcissist parent, like me." I went back and told him not to call me obnoxious, challenge fuel, when I just tried to help him. He yelled at me some more and mocked me, belittlement, form of manipulation. I left and returned with a camera, determined to record his tantrum, so he can't deny it. Denial, the first line of the twin lines of the narcissistic defense, like he always does. Thus, this is what happened immediately beforehand, and now you can watch the footage which exhibits the continuing forms of manipulation between Matthew and his father, but also the way that grandmother is involved as a lieutenant of her son. Here comes the footage.
Walking away is not necessarily obnoxious.
Oh, it isn't? What is it, man? Why don't you describe
Just yelling at somebody, that's a little obnoxious. That's a little obnoxious. And that says something right there. If you're uncomfortable with that, that shows something right there.
Stop it! What are you asking for trouble?
You say, listen.
Stop that damn camera. You're asking for trouble with that. Stop it.
No, you're asking for trouble. Well, you know.
Matthew, you're being impossible.
How?
Oh, hi, Sandy. Don't worry. Bob?
It's a simple question. How? Can you answer it calmly?
I'm not well. I don't feel good. Take that thing, that stupid thing out of my face today, please. listen.
right,
Now
fine.
that is obnoxious. Yes. Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
I want that. I want.
You're not getting it.
Turn that.
But we don't have to argue. Let's settle this.
Who is it?
Let's settle this calmly.
Please do not film me. I have asked you in the past not to
Greg,
film
can
me
you
unless
tell me
you
who
get
this
my
is?
permission. You're doing it against my wishes. That is wrong.
No, you know what? I'm not doing this. You want to hear why I'm doing it? I think it might be a good idea.
Who is this?
Sandy, please turn that off.
I'm not recording you right now. Listen,
Matthew,
I think it's a
you're
good idea.
recording
I think it would be a good
yourself.
idea.
You're recording me, so
I think
you're lying.
Wait.
Can
You're
you
recording
want
the
to
audio.
see because you don't let me talk and you disagree with everything I say.
Matthew, please.
Listen, if I record it, then you can look at
To
it.
be recorded.
Grimmerose
Audio
and you-
or video. Turn it off right now. Turn it off, please. This
No,
is
because
a family.
It is a
This not
family,
just
and it is a family, and this can help you
I can't
see.
even answer my phone.
See, you guys.
Because you're screaming. Please.
No, I'm not screaming. Nobody's screaming. Oh God. See, you guys are. I thought it would be a good idea to bring a recorder since you guys are in denial about what you say and how you treat
Matthew,
me.
this is absolutely unpardonable. This is not right. This is
I thought
not
it would be a
correct.
good idea. It's impossible
You
to have
are
a
filming
conversation.
people against their wishes. That is
Oh,
wrong.
Marcus told him the same thing, and he knows.
You turn that thing
And
off.
it's
please.
wrong for you to deny.
You're causing an argument and filming it. That is absolutely prohibited.
I'm not. I was trying to solve an argument by this.
That is not a way to solve an argument, man.
It is.
You know that.
No, it is for normal people. You can observe
You're gonna
yourself.
use that against me. That's wrong, man.
What do you mean I'm using? I'm telling you how I wanted to use it.
How?
I wanted to use it so that when we can solve this little problem,
I don't know what you're talking about.
because listen,
If you want
I
to solve the
wanted
problem, I asked
you see
for-
you don't even let me finish a sentence. I haven't said one
Yeah,
sentence.
that thing.
No, you're not gonna grab it from me.
Then take it away.
Fine, I will move
Wait a
away.
minute.
I will move away, but leave me alone, okay?
You just go to your room and stay there then. Just go. Leave us alone.
I'm
Leave
leaving.
us alone.
Why do you yell at me when I'm leaving? You don't yell at
Leave.
somebody to leave when they're already
Leave.
leaving.
You're being obnoxious. Very.
Eileen, would you please talk to your
I decided to start recording because they're both calling me obnoxious for
go
giving my
already.
dad.
I'm not getting in the middle of this.
Okay, so you've seen the footage, which gives you a flavour of what has been going on. Let's now break down the various interactions. The narcissist is speaking with his mother, the grandmother, and is recounting to her what his son has said. Don't call me obnoxious. And he states this in disbelief as what his son had actually said. What's happened here is, of course, is that when Greg has received that "don't call me obnoxious" from his son, that's challenge fuel. He's responding to him, thus it's fuel, but he's telling him not to do something which challenges the narcissist's sense of entitlement and thus is a threat to control. He wasn't able to assert control over his son in the instant, and therefore he sought to assert control indirectly by complaining to his mother, the grandmother, about what has gone on. It's likely the case that regularly grandma agrees with her son about the behaviour of grandson, which enables the narcissist son to gain that subconscious need for control and cements her status as a lieutenant or lieutenant to our transatlantic cousins, who can be relied upon to not only perhaps undertake the bidding of the narcissist, but also to agree with him. Thus, it's likely within this household there are repeated arguments and repeated friction between the constituent members of the family, and the narcissist father, unable to assert control directly over his son, turns to his mother, the grandma, and complains. She agrees, in her role as a lieutenant, that the grandson is out of line, thus affording the narcissist that subconscious sense of control. The son states, walking away is not necessarily obnoxious challenge fuel. The father, sitting at the kitchen table, arms folded, goes, "Oh, it isn't. What is it, man? Why don't you describe what it is?" He then stands up in a challenging method. The son replies, just yelling at somebody, that's a little obnoxious. That's a little obnoxious. Criticism of his father's behaviour, challenge fuel. The grandmother weighs in, turn that thing off. The father has seen the camera. That threatens his sense of control and causes him to appear frustrated. He stands with both hands on his hips, exasperated at the behaviour of his son. The son replies, and that shows something right there. If you are uncomfortable with that, meaning the camera, that shows something right there, challenge fuel. The grandmother, who's also uncomfortable with the camera, waves him away, dismissiveness. Stop it, oh, you're asking for trouble. The father addresses the grandmother as the home phone, the landline is ringing. Answer the phone. The father then later answers the phone himself, and he can be heard talking in the background. The son, struggling to get his words out, states, you say, listen. But the grandmother immediately interrupts him. It's that damn camera. You're asking for trouble with that. Stop it. Now she's forming the similar stance of the son, finding the behaviour, similar stance of her son, finding her grandson's behaviour problematic. The victim responds, no, you're asking for trouble. Well, you know. The grandmother chastises him. Matthew, you're being impossible. He replies, how? The grandmother puts her hand to her forehead in clear irritation. It's a simple question. How, he asks. Can you answer it calmly? The grandmother deflects. No, I don't feel good. Take that stupid thing out of my face today, please. You won't listen. Now that is obnoxious. Yes. Notice she as a lieutenant is supportive of what the narcissist has been saying about Matthew the son being obnoxious. It is often the case that the lieutenant's views will accord with that of the narcissist, not because necessarily the narcissist has demanded it, but because they have been given information by the narcissist that portrays the victim in a particular light, resulting in the lieutenant forming a similar view. Thus, the narcissist's son will probably repeatedly complain about his son to the grandma, resulting in the grandma forming a view as a consequence of this smearing, that Matthew the son will be portrayed as difficult. And of course, when he fights his corner and protests about his treatment in the manner as described here, that results in him reinforcing the smeared view. And that's often one of the problems for the victim of a narcissist, is that where you try to convince third parties of the behaviour of the narcissist, where the narcissist has already repeatedly smeared you to that third party, you don't end up clarifying the picture or persuading that third party. You simply reinforce their already entrenched view of you. That's why it's very important to understand that where you're being smeared by a narcissist, largely the most effective thing to do is not to respond to it, unless it's affecting your livelihood. The best thing to do with a smear is to ignore it. With regard to the people that the narcissist is smearing you to, they fall into three groups. Those that believe the smear, therefore it's pointless trying to dissuade them. Those that don't believe the smear, therefore there's no need for you to tell them anything more, they're on your side. And the third group, which is the largest group, who generally would be sympathetic to you and sympathetic to the narcissist, and then are more concerned with what's going on in their own lives in terms of bills to pay, children to bring up, jobs to do, etc. Namely, it's tomorrow's fish and chip paper. Empathic individuals, driven by the emotional thinking corruption of their truth-seeking, are more prone to want to try and resolve smears favourably by pointing out that they are the one that has been victimised by the narcissist, that the narcissist is lying. But in such circumstances, you're likely to become frustrated as a consequence of third parties not accepting what you have to say. And you also run the risk that you're going to attract more attention from the narcissist, who learns about your attempts to counter the smear and thus smears you harder and or comes and hoovers you. Here, it's quite clear that the grandmother as a lieutenant has heard these things said about Matthew, the grandson, time and time again, and has thus become of the view that he's the troublemaker. Therefore, his protestations just convince her all the more that he is the troublemaker, which can be seen in her responses to him. She explains that he is the one that's being impossible, that he's the one that needs to stop it, that his behaviour is obnoxious. The narcissist returns and hands the home phone to the grandmother. She asks, "Who is it?" The victim says, "You're not getting it," because the father wants his phone. "We don't have to argue, let's settle this calmly." The narcissist replies, "Please do not film me," assertion of control. "I've asked you several times in the past," bringing up the past, "not to film me." Clearly, the victim, exasperated in the way that he's been treated, has done this previously, and of course that threatens the narcissist's sense of control. The grandmother, in a parallel conversation, asks, "Greg, can you tell me who this is?" The narcissist, still speaking to his son, says, "You're doing it against my wishes. That is wrong." The victim replies, "You know what? You want to know why I'm doing it? I think it might be a good idea." The grandmother interrupts, asking the narcissist who's calling on the phone, "Who is this?" The narcissist addresses the grandmother, "It's Sandy." He then addresses the victim, "Please turn that off." Attempt to nullify threat to control. The grandmother, continuing with a separate conversation again, is, "Who is Sandy?" The victim states, "I'm not recording you right now. Listen, I think it would be a good idea." The narcissist interrupts, lack of boundary recognition. "Matthew, you're recording yourself, so you're recording me. So you're lying. You're recording me also." The victim responds, "See, because you don't let me talk and you disagree with everything I say." Narcissist, "Matthew, look at yourself." The victim, "Listen, if I record it, then you can look at it. Grandma, Rose, and you." The narcissist again interrupts. "I told you that I didn't want to be recorded on video. Turn it off right now. Turn it off, please." The victim stands his ground. "No, because." Narcissist, "This is a family." The victim persists. "It is a family, and this can help you see." The grandmother then interrupts both of them and states, "I can't even answer my phone call because you're screaming. Please." The victim disagrees. "I'm not screaming. Nobody's screaming." The narcissist whispers in exasperation, "Oh God." The victim continues, I thought it would be a good idea to bring a recorder, since you guys are in denial about what you say and how you treat me." The narcissist reacts badly to this. "Matthew, this is absolutely unpardonable. This is not right. This is not right." The victim responds, "I thought it would be a good idea. It is impossible to have a conversation." The narcissist interrupts him again. "You're filming people against their wishes. That is wrong." You'll see how the narcissist and the victim just keep going. The narcissist is being provided with fuel, albeit challenge fuel. The victim, of course, doesn't realise that this is what he's doing, and they're essentially having two separate conversations. The victim is protesting his innocence by saying, "I haven't done anything wrong. I want to film this to show you that you two are in the wrong." The narcissist is having a conversation about, "You shouldn't be filming me. That's an invasion of my privacy." Thus, in effect, neither are actually listening to the other, and it just results in a circular conversation. The grandmother interrupts, "Well, Marcus told him the same thing and he knows it," again asserting supporting the position of the narcissist. The narcissist again seeks to assert control. "You turn that thing off." The victim persists. "It's wrong for you to deny." The narcissist continues, "You're causing an argument and filming it. That is absolutely perverted melodrama." The victim sticks to his position. "I'm not. I was trying to solve an argument by this." Again, his emotional thinking has corrupted his empathic trait of the desire to fix and heal. He thinks that by showing the narcissist the way that he behaves, that will result in resolution. As you all know, it won't. The narcissist replies, "That's not a way to solve an argument, man. You know that." The victim replies, "No, it is. It is for normal people. You can observe yourself." Narcissist, "You're going to use that against me. That's wrong, man." The victim replies, "What do you mean I'm using it? I'm telling you how I wanted to use it." The narcissist asks, how? Victim replies, I wanted to use it so that we can, solve this little problem, Narcissist issuing denial again. I don't know what you're talking about. The victim, because listen. The narcissist replies, if you want to solve the problem, I ask you to turn it off. That's how the problem's solved from his perspective, which is, of course, the nullification of the threat to control posed by him filming. Remember, this is an unaware narcissist, and it isn't the case of him thinking, I don't want him filming this because it shows that I'm a narcissist, or I don't want him filming this because he's absolutely right about my behaviour. It's the threat to control that occurs in the moment, which is he's filming, which of itself is a threat to control, not because of what he's necessarily filming. It's the act of filming itself that is a threat to control. The victim then interrupts by stating, see, you don't even let me finish a sentence. I haven't said one sentence. The narcissist then moves towards the victim with his hand outstretched and declares, let me have that thing, entitlement. The victim rejects that. No, you're not going to grab it from me. The narcissist then take it away. The victim states, fine, I'll move away, but leave me alone, okay. The grandmother interrupts again, you just go and leave us to stay here then, just go. She raises her voice, leave us alone, leave us alone. The victim replies, what? I'm leaving. Why would you yell at me when I'm leaving? You don't yell at somebody to leave when they're already leaving. Again, he finds the behaviour of his grandmother similarly mystifying as that of his father. It's quite possibly the case that the father hasn't fallen too far from the tree in relation to grandma. Grandmother shouts again, leave, you are being obnoxious, very. The narcissist then addresses the intimate partner primary source, who has just walked in. Eileen, would you please talk to your son? Triangulation. The victim then addresses his mother. I decided to start recording because they're both calling me obnoxious for giving my dad. He attempts to explain, but then the grandmother cuts him off, interrupting by saying, just go already. Thus, there's the interaction whereby the victim repeatedly protests, trying to explain his truth, but finds himself subjected to repeated demands to stop filming, to be labelled as obnoxious. And the attack comes from both the narcissist and the narcissist lieutenant, the grandmother. It's possible that the grandmother is a narcissist also. And in such circumstances, the two of them team up against the son/grandson because he repeatedly threatens both of their sense of control. Or grandma might not be a narcissist, but either way, narcissist or not, she has the role of lieutenant in relation to her son, the narcissist father. He repeatedly seeks to assert control over his son, who won't give it him, resulting in the argument that you've just witnessed. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.